Alright, today we're going to talk about how to graph linear equations. We need to be able to do it when it's in slope-intercept form and when it's not in slope-intercept form. We need to remember that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. M is your slope and b is your y-intercept. These are our steps for graphing. The first thing we're going to do is identify the y-intercept and write it as an ordered pair. We're going to graph that y-intercept. After we graph the y-intercept, we're going to identify the slope and use that slope to create at least one more point on our graph, and then we're going to draw a line through the points and make sure it has arrows on it. So if we look at example 1, we have y equals negative 1/2 x minus 1. My y-intercept is negative 1. And we can write that as 0, negative 1, because remember, a y-intercept always has an x value of 0. So when I graph that, my y-intercept of negative 1 is right here. My slope is negative 1/2. From here, we can assign the negative to the top or the bottom. So we can either make it negative 1 over 2 or 1 over negative 2. So from the point, we can follow our negative 1 by going down 1, because remember it's rise over run. And then we can go in a positive 2 direction, which is to the right. Or if we follow it the other way, from my y-intercept, we go up 1, because that's a positive 1 direction, and we can go negative 2 direction, 1, 2. You can keep going down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2 to make an infinite number of points. But you only have to do 2 or 3 points. So I'm going to draw a line and make my arrows connect. Example 2, we have y equals 2x plus 3. My b is my y-intercept, which is 3, and that is 0, 3. To graph 0, 3, we start at 0 and go up 3. My slope is positive 2, and if we made that positive 2 a fraction, it would be positive 2 over positive 1. So from here, I'm going to go in a positive 2 direction, which is up 2, because that's my rise, and my run is 1, so I'm going to go in a positive 1 direction, which is here. I wanted to make the opposite of positive 2 over positive 1 is negative 2 over negative 1. Both of them give you positive slopes because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. If I wanted to add another point, I don't have any room up here to go up 2, right 1 more. So I can go down 2, which is negative 2, and left 1, which gives me negative 1, and I have my graph. Now we also have to know what to do if it's not in slope-intercept form. Remember, we need to put it in slope-intercept form. So I have 8x minus 5y equals negative 25. We need to put that in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to subtract 8x on both sides. That's going to give me negative 5y equals negative 8x minus 25. Divide everything by negative 5. And we have y equals negative 8 over negative 5 is 8 over 5 x. Negative 25 divided by negative 5 is positive 5. Now, we identify our y-intercept. My y-intercept is 5, which can be written as 0, 5. So I'm going to go up to 5 on my graph. Then I use my slope, which is 8 over 5, or negative 8 over negative 5. I don't have room to go up 8 and right 5, so I need to go the opposite. Down 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there is my graph. Number 4, we have 3x plus 2y equals negative 4. Again, this is not in slope-intercept form, so I need to put it in slope-intercept form. We're going to subtract 3x on both sides. That's going to give me 2y equals negative 3x minus 4. Divide everything by 2. That gives me y equals negative 3 over 2x minus 2. So we need to identify the y-intercept. My y-intercept is negative 2. So we can write that as 0, negative 2, and we will graph that. Next we use our slope. My slope is negative 3 over 2, or it can be 3 over negative 2. Whichever one you want to use is the same. So if I wanted to use negative 3 over 2, from your y-intercept you could go down 3 and right 2. Or from your y-intercept you could go up 3, left 2. Remember, slope is rise over run. That's why I go up or down and then left or right. Right? And we also need to know how to graph it if it's just x equals negative 6. So we want to look where every x would be negative 6. So my x equals negative 6 would be like this. And remember, that's an undefined slope. And a y-intercept of negative 6. I mean, there is no y-intercept. I'm sorry. There is no y-intercept on this one. Number 6, if we had y equals 3, we're going to look for everything where y is 3. So if I would graph y equals 3 like this, no matter what point I use, you go negative 3, up 3. Negative 5, up 3. Your y point will always be 3. So this is a 0 slope. And this one does have a y-intercept because it crosses the y-axis of 3.